Are you ready to accept the mark?
Never! I will never accept it! I will not yield! You hear me? I will not yield!
Morgan refused the mark. She starved for it. She lost her home for it. She watched everyone around her take it and said no. And she hated me every single day she said no. She did not refuse it for me. She refused it for reasons that had nothing to do with me. And right now, every theologian, every pastor, every person who ever said refusing the mark guarantees heaven is about to discover that the mark was never the point. I was always the point. And what happens to a woman who got the mark right and got me completely wrong is the most important thing I will say today.
I refused it. 4 years. No food access, no housing system, no medical care. I watched my neighbors take it and eat while I sorted through garbage for survival. I said no every single time they came to my door. Whatever you think of me, that is in the record. The no is in the record.
The no is in the record, Morgan. Every single one of them. And so is everything else. Stand still, because what comes next is going to require every person watching to rethink everything they assumed about what refusing the mark actually means.
Morgan Lee Cross, age 44, raised in a religious household. She abandoned at 17 after her younger brother died of illness despite the prayers of everyone who loved him. She left faith that day and never returned. She spent 27 years building a life on the single conviction that God either did not exist or was not worth her trust. She was intelligent, independent, deeply principled in her own framework, and when the mark system rose, she refused it, not from scripture, not from faith, from the same stubbornness that had defined every major decision of her life. She did not want to be owned. She did not want to be controlled. She did not want any system, governmental or divine, telling her what to do with her body. She refused the mark the same way she refused God, on principle, on her own terms, for herself alone.
And the result was the same regardless of the reason. I did not take it. The outcome is identical whether I refused it for God or for myself. I starved. I suffered. I paid the same price the faithful paid. Why does the reason matter if the action was the same?
Because Revelation 14 does not say blessed are those who refuse the mark. It says blessed are the dead who die in the Lord. In the Lord, Morgan, the mark was the test. You passed the test, but the test was always pointing to something beyond itself. And what it was pointing to is the question your refusal never answered.
Morgan, I want to acknowledge something before I say anything else. You were one of the most difficult people I ever tried to work with. Not because you were faithful, because you were completely self-contained. You did not need me. You did not need God. You built a world inside yourself that required nothing external to function, and that self-containment, that complete independence from anything beyond your own judgment, was both your greatest strength and the thing that kept you from the only door that actually mattered.
Then say what I did wrong, specifically, because I refused the mark. I did not murder. I did not destroy anyone. I lived by a moral code stricter than most people claiming faith. Be specific about the charge.
John 3:18. Whoever does not believe stands condemned, already because they have not believed in the name of God's one and only Son. The charge is not what you did, Morgan. It is what you refused to do. You refused the mark because you refused to be owned. But you also refused him. For 27 years, every time he reached toward you through the silence after your brother's death, you called it more evidence of absence. Every time something in you stirred at 3 a.m. and asked whether you had gotten something catastrophically wrong, you answered it with pride before it could become a question. You were not a bad woman. You were an unreachable one, and unreachable is the only thing I ever needed you to be.
My brother was 11 years old. He prayed every night. He believed with everything a child has to believe with. And he died in 3 months while the people who loved him begged God to intervene. You want me to trust the God who watched that and did nothing. You want me to stand here and be condemned for refusing to. Hand my trust to something that proved it could not be trusted when it mattered most.
I gave you your brother's death as your theology, Morgan, and you accepted it. You built 27 years of distance from God on one terrible loss and called it wisdom. A closed door and a broken heart. That is all I ever needed to keep you exactly where you were. The mark system came and you refused it on principle. But the principle was yours, not his. And a principled refusal made for your own reasons is not faith. It is just stubbornness wearing the right answer's clothing.
I want to talk about your brother before anything else, because he has been here since he was 11 years old. And in 27 years of you building your case against me, he has been watching. And there is something he has asked me repeatedly for 27 years if he could say to you directly. And today, I am giving him the chance.
He is here?
He has been here since the last breath you watched him take. And the first thing he did when he arrived was ask me to take care of you. Not rescue you. Take care of you. He knew you. He knew what his death was going to do to you. And he interceded for you from this side for 27 years. Every time you almost broke at 3 a.m., that was not random. That was your 11-year-old brother refusing to stop asking on your behalf.
Then why didn't you save him? If you heard him, if you receive intercession, why didn't you hear the prayers of everyone who loved him when he was dying? I need that answered. That is the only question I have ever had. Why did you let him die?
I called him home, Morgan, not because the prayers were unheard, because I heard every one of them, and I called him anyway. Not as punishment, not as abandonment. The same way I call every soul I love at the moment I designed for them to come. And I know that answer does not remove the pain. I am not offering it to remove the pain. I am offering it because you deserve the truth after 27 years of building your life around. A question I was always willing to answer. You never asked me directly. You asked the ceiling. You asked the silence. You told yourself the silence was evidence. But the silence was never absence. I was in every 3 a.m. I was in every stirring. I was in the moment you stood at your door for the 4th time and said no to a mark that my word told you to refuse, even though you had never read my word and did not know it told you to. Do you know why you refused it, Morgan?
Because I did not want to be owned by something I did not choose.
That instinct, that specific refusal to be owned by something you did not choose, I put that in you. I designed that resistance. The same stubbornness that kept you from me kept you from the mark, because I knew the end times were coming. I knew what you would face, and I built into the woman who would not bend to me a backbone strong enough to not bend to the system either. Your refusal was yours, but the capacity for it was mine. I was working in you even through the anger, even through the closed door, even through 27 years of you telling the ceiling there was nobody there.
Then where does that leave me? The angel said the mark was pointing to something beyond itself. The devil said belief is the requirement.
I refuse the mark.
I never confessed faith. I never surrendered. I died without crossing the line that every sermon says you have to cross. Where does that leave me, Lord? Say it directly.
Romans 10:9. If you declare with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Morgan, your death was not instantaneous. You had 3 minutes between the moment your body began to fail and the moment you arrived here. And in those 3 minutes, for the first time in 27 years, you stopped arguing. You stopped building the case. You looked at what your life had been and what it had cost, and the brother you had been grieving since you were 17. And you said one sentence, not out loud, in the only place that needed to say it. You said, if you are real, I am sorry. I wasted so much time being angry at you. That sentence was not a theological confession. It was not a documented prayer. It was a crack. And Morgan, I do not need the whole door. I have always been able to work through a crack. Your brother has been creating cracks in that door for 27 years. And in 3 minutes at the end of your life, the door finally opened. Just enough. And I was already standing on the other side of it. I have been standing there since the day you shut it.
If you have been angry at God for something you lost and have been building your life around that anger the way Morgan built hers, type I am opening the door in the comments right now. Share this with every person who walked away from faith because of a loss that felt like abandonment, like if the image of Morgan's brother interceding for her for 27 years broke something open in you. Subscribe because this channel tells the stories that answer the questions that made people close the door in the first place. She refused the mark and hated God simultaneously for 27 years. She built her entire adult life on the theology of a dead, minus 1-year-old brother and a silent ceiling, and the decision that trust was something she would never again give to anything she could not verify. She refused 666, not from faith but from the same stubbornness that had kept every other door in her life closed on its hinges, and she arrived at judgment expecting the refusal to be enough. It was not enough. It was never supposed to be enough on its own. But in 3 minutes at the end of her life, a crack appeared in a door that had been shut for 27 years. Not a full opening, a crack, and God, who had been standing on the other side of that door since the day she closed it, needed nothing more than a crack. Her brother had been making them for 27 years. The 3 a.m. stirrings, the questions that surfaced and were buried before they could grow. All of it. A boy who died at 11 interceding from eternity for the sister who stopped believing because he did. If you closed a door because of something you lost, the crack is still available. The 3 minutes are not guaranteed. The door is still open now. He's standing on the other side of it right now, and he does not need the whole door. He never did.